Morning.
All right, we're good to go.
Thank you. Good morning. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Board of Trustees meeting Tuesday, October 29th, 2024. Teresa, if you could call the roll, please.
All right, Mayor Biassiata.
Here.
Ms. Elder.
Here.
Mayor Kumar.
Here.
Mr. Love.
Here.
Reverend Lucas. Ms. McPherson.
Here.
Ms. Pachetti.
Here.
Mr. Sleesman.
Here.
Mayor Weiss. And Ms. Welch.
Here.
You have 8 board members present. You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Item number 3, certification of the notice of meeting, please.
Mr. President, I advise that notice of this meeting has been posted more than 24 hours in advance of the meeting, that the usual notification has been given the news media and other interested persons, and that all requirements of the Ohio Revised Code and rules and bylaws of this board regarding notice of meeting have been complied with.
Thank you very much. Item number 4, approval of the September 24th board meeting minutes. Those were in your packet. Are there any comments or edits to those minutes? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second. Welch.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Item number 5, public comment for 2 minutes, and would just ask that you state your name and city of residence, please. And we have, I know, one individual here that Teresa will help up to the podium.
Talking into, oh, okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is
Good morning.
Carrie, and I live in Parma. I'm a paratransit rider because I'm legally blind. And the reason I'm here today is because I live in a development off of State Road in Parma, and the 51A was rerouted a few years ago. And unfortunately, that pushed me a little bit out of the service area with the 3/4 of a mile policy. So I have to walk to my friend Amy's house that lives in the same development, but she is within that service area because she lives a little closer to the main road than I do. It's about a 10 to 15 minute walk every time that I have to go back and forth on paratransit. And because I'm legally blind, it's very unsafe for me. I've fallen several times, especially when it's dark outside. And the important thing to note is that Amy's house is on the left-hand side of the street, so my paratransit driver has to either go to the end of Amy's street to turn around or drive up the parallel street and go in a loop to get to the correct side of the road. Well, either way, the driver is going right past where I live to turn the vehicle around. And the reason I'm here today is because I would like to be able to be picked up at my own residence, especially since the driver has to go right past my house anyways to turn the vehicle around. It's a very unsafe situation for me, and especially this morning, it was pouring rain and dark outside when I was trying to walk to paratransit to come here today. And there are people on State Road that we pick up for paratransit that live further out of the service area, and I don't understand why they're still able to be picked up, but I am not. They live more into the North Royalton area, south of where I am in Parma, and they're a lot further out of that 3/4 of a mile policy. So I would just really like to be able to be picked up in my own driveway.
Thank you so much for your comments.
Thank you.
CEO?
Yes. Thank you. Tony, if you could, thank you. It's going to help her up. Ma'am, we appreciate your comments, and we're going to actually look into that. I know that we received one, a similar comment, not sure if it was yours, last evening, actually, and we determined that we were able to make the accommodation. So if I'll have Nick Davidson be able to review that with you, and we'll see what the outcome is for you. He is sitting in the back of our room today, so Nick, if you could make sure that you touch base with the customer, just stick around for us, ma'am, and we'll be able to touch base with you today. Thank you.
Any other additional comments in person? Yes, sir.
Chris Martin, City of Cleveland. President Kumar, I object to your decision to have the amount of time the public is allowed to address this board. I do not find it very respectful. This is ironic since you've falsely claimed several times that public commenters must be respectful to you and the board. As you may be aware, under this country's First Amendment, that is patently untrue. Anyway, this board continues to convene at 9 a.m., which is not respectful of most working riders' time. For me, I'm struck by the thought that you don't actually want to hear from the public. But today, I'm here to quickly rattle off a litany of questions with my extremely limited time. The Gilligs that you're set to purchase today, are they pre-wired for validators to enable all-door boarding? Was the Community Advisory Committee consulted about the specs for the Gilligs? Meeting just quarterly, what does the Community Advisory Committee do? RTA strategic plan calls for expanding bus service to increase frequency at night and during the weekends. How's that going? Both the 51 and 53 are lines branded as Metro Health Line. CSU line branded buses often run as 22s along Lorraine. Doesn't this practice dilute the branding benefits of these buses? How long will we continue to have weekday evening 30-minute headways on the Red Line? Is there any sort of plan to repair and reopen the second entrance to the West 65th Rapid Station? Will this board demand bus lanes on West 25th between Detroit and Chatham? Will this board direct the agency to heal the health line? What does bus rapid transit really mean to this agency? Will this board clearly define it? Those are my questions. Please, if you have answers, let me know.
Thank you very much, sir. Any other individuals here in person that would like to comment? Teresa, do we have anyone online?
In the back, anybody online?
We have two calls. Caller 5201, you can go ahead.
Just check. Do you copy?
Please
Okay.
go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I attended a board meeting maybe, I don't know, 9 months ago, a year ago. I had a carriage or a pram, baby stroller, and at issue was Paratransit's refusal to transport that medical mobility device. And I reached out to Paratransit. There was no issue, and Oliver Draper was in command there. He did a great job. There was change of personnel, and things fell apart overnight. And case in point, Mr. Davis, if I recall, or was it Mr. Dr. Tabor, was present at that meeting, and he said it was a safety issue, and no one requested he clarify what the hell he meant by that. No one. There's no safety issue. I travel with that. Some of my friends call it the lunar module, lunar landing module. It's my mobile work office. I'm sure some of you remember it. And it has a frame. It can be hook and strap secured until one of the brakes broke. It didn't need to be secured unless there was a really heavy load and the operator had to hit brake hard. And I travel with it on fixed route, and some of the better operators, they got no problem with it whatsoever. The bad operators, they say you got to tear that apart, tear it down, which is completely unexcusable, terrible policy, terrible public service, and tends to lead to Jerry Springer type scenes where riders get impatient, the driver's impatient, the ADA is being asked to
Caller
empty out every
5201, you're out of time.
while the bus is moving.
Thank you.
We have one more caller. Caller has dropped, so we have no more calls.
Any web calls?
Yes, we do. We have 2 web comments. The first comment is from Isaac Shimsky Agosta of Cleveland. This is actually a commendation to RTA regarding the departure screens in Tower City. He said this is a very successful implementation, and he suggested that we include this more on the rest of the system.
Thank you.
The second comment is from Kevin Allman of Cleveland. He is a new user of paratransit. He has about 7 suggestions to improve the service. I'll just abbreviate. Schedule 7 days in advance and beyond. Notifies clients if pickups will be delayed. You get free rides if the vehicle is delayed. We'll have a wheel call for return pickups. Have a GPS tracking system that shows the status of the vehicle, driver, and what kind of vehicle. Also, wheelchairs, to have wheelchairs sit wherever they want to sit. Also, to wear vehicle seat belts or wear your own seat belt that comes with your chair. And lastly, to expand service outside of Cuyahoga County. End of comment.
We do have one more call. Caller 0387, you can go ahead. Never mind, it's not connecting. They dropped again.
Thank you very much. Okay. We're going to go on to item number 6 and through 13. Do we have any reports out from any of our committees? Anyone else? Technology? Great. Okay. Thank you so much on that. Then introduction of new employees and announcement of promotions. I think we have with us Ida Ford Marshall, Senior Manager of Talent Acquisition.
Good morning, Board President Kumar, General Manager, CEO, India Bird Sangteri, entire Board of Trustees. I have about 47 names to acknowledge this morning. So we're going to start out also with our operators. Lee Ward, Cordero Hildreth, Ryan Morrison, Tanya May, Kismet Vinson, Gwendolyn Vardamore, Sierra McCoy, Michael Parham, and Aretha Johnson. Darnita McNaught, Darlene Young, Pamela Jones, Gregory Bates, Felicia Brooks, Jamel Carter Pittman, Tiffany Hamrick, James Williams, and Durwood Hughes. Continuing on is Letitia Bowen, Holly Ann Jackson, Nicole Boose, Maurice Sattler, Joshua Ortiz, Aaron Reynolds, Phoenix Daniels, Bernard Jackson, and Jimmy Darby. James Rogers Jr., George Rice, Robert Anderson, Mario Jones Sr., Jasmine Williams, and Devanya Walker, Andrea Curry, Robin Bagley, and Durwood Hughes. Our rail operators, Reginald Palmore, Taria Smith, Matthew Orr, Tamisha Black, Keith Madison, Kamiko Blackman, and in our operations, Maurice Harris as a laborer, Edward Boyce, laborer, Christian Watson, district business analyst. We're going to turn over to Joseph Turner as our central communications specialist and rounding it off with Derek Perdue as an equipment servicer, AKA mechanic. Moving into those that are excelling, we have Griffin Bale as equipment maintainer, Wayne Chalker as equipment maintainer, Joseph Bryan as lead signal technician, Carl Reppening Jr., line maintainer, Pamela Murphy, crew chief, and Carolyn Young, Director of Grants Management and Treasury. David Rapp, Quality Assurance Warranty Specialist number 1. Let's give them all a round of applause. We'll start off with resolutions and then a special announcement.
Item 15, resolutions. We have the first one is 2024-74.
Expressing congratulations to the employees of the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority who retired during the third quarter of 2024.
Thank you, Teresa. I will announce them all, and I would like to have the two that are here, I'll announce you last, so you can come up and get a certification award. But honoring the retirees for third quarter 2024 is Catherine Underwood, rail operator, Sheila Johnson, bus operator, Joseph Maklenar, bus operator, Edward Isakov, bus operator, Sharon Giles, bus operator, Audie Rivers, line maintainer, and Michael Kapik, engineering program manager of facilities. I'd like to welcome to the stage Ricky Buck from Hayden, assistant supervisor of equipment. Well, Ricky. This is for you, an honor. Be over there. Thank you. Here. Yeah, thank you. Stay right there, real quick. We'll get it at the end. Okay. Yep. And then also Paul Hootie, signal technician, Power and Way. So we'll take a quick picture, and then if you have any special comments, so we would love to hear those. Thank you. So, Paul or Ricky, if you have any inspirational words or special stories that you would love to share, we would love to hear them.
I think that the most thing that I could say is your time at RTA is short, 30 some odd years or whatever. You enjoy it and learn as much as you can because there's new things happening every day. So thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to say it's been an outstanding journey working at RTA. All of you, I would say, you know, a lot of you, I'm not going to say new, but wasn't here when I first got here. So we still look up to you, we admire you, and you give us inspiration. That's what I want to say. Keep on inspiring everyone to make this an outstanding company. Thank you.
And that concludes the new hire and promotions and retirees. Thank you.
Great. I'd like to make a motion to approve that resolution. Is there a second?
Second, Welch.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution passes. Resolution 2024-75.
Authorizing contract number 2024-096 with Sam Schwartz Consulting LLC for fleet electrification study services in an amount not to exceed $319,924. RTA Development Fund, Engineering and Project Development Department budget.
Thank you very much. You've heard that resolution. Any comments from the board? If not, is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution 2024-75 passes. Resolution 2024-76.
Authorizing contract number 2024-112 with Sona Construction LLC for Project 19.60 Brook Park Maintenance Facility Modifications in an amount not to exceed $1,281,000. RTA Development Fund, Engineering and Project Development Department budget.
Great. Obviously, this is a very important project as we move forward with the purchase of the new rail cars. Any comments from the board? If not, motions? Okay.
Second, Sleesman.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. Resolution 2024-77.
Authorizing contract number 2024-116 with Michael Baker International Incorporated for Project 20.19 on-call rail engineering services 2024 in an amount not to exceed $450,000 for a period of 24 months. RTA Capital and/or Development Funds, Engineering and Project Development Department budget.
Great, thank you. Again, on-call rail engineering is extremely important to keep the trains running on time. Any comments from the board? If not, is there a motion?
Elder, so moved.
Second, Sleesman.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion, resolution carries. Resolution 2024-78.
Authorizing contract number 2024-124 with Cook Paving and Construction Company Incorporated for GCRTA Central Rail Maintenance Facility repave as specified in an amount not to exceed $353,865. RTA Development Fund, Engineering and Project Development Department budget.
Great, you've heard that resolution as well. Obviously, all of these resolutions have been vetted in prior committee sessions, so that's why they're up for a simple vote today. Do I have a motion for that resolution?
Motion, Welch.
Second, Love.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. Resolution 2024-79.
Authorizing contract number 2024-133 with Sunoco LLC for the furnishing of approximately 450,000 gallons of 87-octane unleaded gasoline as specified and as required for each of 3 years at a cost of plus 0.0313 per gallon above the OPIS index for year 1 at a cost plus 0.0338 per gallon above the OPIS index for year 2 and at a cost of plus 0.0363 per gallon for year 3. General Fund, Fleet Management Department budget.
Great, thank you very much for that, Teresa. I will make a motion to move that resolution forward. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Resolution 2024-80.
Authorizing change order to exercise an option under contract 2020-071 with Gillick LLC for the purchase and delivery of 40-foot low-floor CNG coaches, spare parts, and tooling, as specified, for an amount not to exceed $28,893,874.40. RTA Development Fund, Fleet Management Department budget.
Great, you have heard that resolution. Is there a motion? Move that forward.
So moved, Sleesman.
Is there a second?
Second, McPherson.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. Resolution 2024-81.
Amending Resolution Number 2023-103 to provide for an increase in the fiscal year 2024 appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures for the general fund in an amount of $18,444,837, and the reserve fund in amount of $2,415,340 for the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority.
Raj, before we move forward on this, any comments on this from a finance end? I know we talked earlier today on H&I, so I just wanted to give you an opportunity to highlight anything you'd like to.
Thank you, Mayor Kumar. For those online, this is Raj Gautam. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for GCRTA. This did go through committee where we had explained the need for the additional appropriations of the $18.4 million resulting from increases in salaries and wages. And the other part of the component, the $2.4 million, as required by board policy, some of the reserve funds had amounts higher than what the board policy says, so those are being transferred out of the reserve fund to go back into the general fund.
Thank you very much. I'd make a motion to move that resolution forward. Is there a second?
Second, Welch.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. Resolution 2024-82.
Amending budget appropriations for the fiscal year 2024 capital improvement budget to provide for an increase of $101,502,256.
Great, thank you so much. And Raj, given the dollar amount in that resolution, I might ask you to comment on that one as well.
Would be happy to do that. This is largely adjusting the capital improvement budget for resolutions that we will be bringing forward in November for the rail car program to exercise the option for 18 additional cars.
And then that will take our purchases up to 48 of the 60?
That is correct. So 30 have already been options on 30. The base order was 24. We exercised the first option for 6 cars, and this is for another 18.
Great. And the purpose of doing that before year end is to lock in better pricing, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, is there a motion on that resolution? Move that.
Motion, Welch.
A second?
Second.
Second, Sleesman.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2024-82 has been approved. Resolution 2024-83.
Authorizing the establishment of a 3-year overall annual goal for disadvantaged business enterprise, DBE, participation in the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority's federally funded contract procurement opportunities for federal fiscal years 2025 through 2027, and also authorizing its submission to the Federal Transit Administration.
Great, thank you very much. I know there was some additional information in the packets. Any comments from management on that information?
No additional comments, unless there were any questions that we could address before you go to vote. I believe that all of the detail was germane to the questions that were asked at the committee meetings.
Any questions? Oh, go ahead. Comment, question altogether.
No questions. I just wanted to thank the team for putting the information together. I thought it was really helpful, and I think it's a helpful exercise to understand where we are compared to other organizations and over time. So thank you for that.
Any other comments from the board?
That's a good point.
If not, is there a motion to approve?
Motion, Welch.
Is there a second?
Second, McPherson.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. Item number 16, Secretary Treasurer's Report. We'll just keep you rolling, Raj.
Right. Good morning again, President Kumar, members of the board. My name is Raj Gautam. I am the Chief Financial Officer for the Greater Cleveland RTA, here with a monthly report on matters that impact our business immediately. I will start off with a quick review of the economic conditions. The inflation rate in the U.S., as we all know, has decreased from a high of 9.1% back in June 2022, currently stands at 2.4%. That's the data that on the graph, you see the blue line. The Federal Open Market Committee reduced the interest rates to 5% back at the September 19th meeting. 2 additional meetings are scheduled for 2024 to determine any further action. They are to be held in November and December. In September, ridership was up. When you compare month to month, 14.3%. On a year-to-date basis, it is 11.26% higher. When compared to pre-COVID ridership, and that's the data on the right-hand side of the slide, we are still 5.5 million rides lower, or roughly 22.9%.
What were those numbers?
The September, comparing September 24 to 23, we were up 14.3%. On a year-to-date basis, we are, when you compare to 23, up 11.26%.
Thank you.
Passenger fares, when you compare the passenger fares to the previous month, we're down 29.8%, and that was largely a result of a very large payment that we had received as a result of student fares of $1.2 million. It relates more to the timing issue that I've often talked about. On a year-to-date basis, passenger fares are 18.1% higher, comparing the same time on a year-to-date basis, September to September. Comparing to pre-COVID, 2019 passenger fares through September were 28.7 million. We are at 24.1 million, which is a decrease, or it's lower by about 4.6 million, or roughly 16%. Sales tax represents the largest source of operating revenue for the authority. The October 2024 receipts, which once again is based on the activity that took place in the county in July 2024, was 2.1% lower when compared to October 2023. On a year-to-date basis, we are stable, 0.6% higher when compared to 2023 levels. Once again, on a year-to-date basis, 12 of the 23 categories were positive, and these are the categories that make up the sales tax base. Online sales were 11.5% higher. Excuse me. Regular and statewide sales were 0.1% higher. Motor vehicles and watercraft were 2.7% lower. Just a snapshot of some of the data that is included in your monthly package. Just a review of the total long-term debt that was outstanding at the end of 2023. We only make principal payments once a year. The next principal payment will be made in December 2024. At the end of 23, the outstanding debt was $30.3 million. The average investment yield on a year-to-date basis stands at 4.5%. A quick snapshot of cash and investments. Total cash and investments amount to $374.1 million, of which $344.7 million are in restricted funds. Unrestricted, or the general fund, amounts to $29.4, which is well over the one-year operating reserve requirement from the board policy. With that, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Questions from the board? If not, thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Next, item 17, we have the general manager's report.
Good morning, everyone. India Birdsong Terry. I'll be going through quite a bit of activity that we've had over the last 30-plus days. Just wanted to be able to start off on a really high note. We have had several screen clouds within the authority in different buildings, but we wanted to formally announce Mr. Casey Blaze has been elected as secretary of the APTA Light Rail Technical Forum. So congratulations, Casey. Casey's a shy guy. He's in the back here in the peanut gallery. Casey, I'm going to actually ask you to embarrass yourself a little bit and have a couple words for the board. This is a very big honor for RTA, and also, if I dare say, for Casey and for the operations division. As was mentioned, we are embarking on new technology for rail, and Casey is very much a part of that leadership team and has really led us down a great path to be able to enjoy the replacement of all those vehicles. And so being at the table in this regard, he'll be at the table physically, virtually, I'm sure, to be able to lend a hand to talk about policy, funding, and new technologies that will be enjoyed here in Cleveland as also around the nation. So Casey, if you have a couple words.
And today is Casey's 40th birthday.
Thank you, Melinda, for that. I appreciate everybody's support with this. Being a part of APTA as a secretary of the Light Rail Technical Committee is a great honor. I get a chance to help guide the authority and other agencies throughout the country, Canada and Mexico, on how best to implement light rail technology. Being here at RTA right now, going through the rail car replacement project, seeing the technology, seeing what it takes to bring in these new vehicles, I'll have experience to offer to APTA as well as RTA on lessons learned from what we learned from our project, plus the guidance received from other authorities and, you know, people involved in the Light Rail Technical Committee. So I do appreciate the board's support, executive management support. Without you guys, I wouldn't be where I am today, so I greatly appreciate it, and thank you.
Thank you, Casey. You can see why we appreciate him. This is just one of many folks that are really blazing the trail, pun intended, to be able to get Cleveland out there in the spotlight. You'll hear from a few of our board members later on their experience as well via APTA. So it's great to be able to have that. Here we go. So just to be able to remind you guys that we did have a great presence, and as mentioned, you'll hear a little bit later from some of our trustees, but the Transform Conference is a huge annual conference that is held across the country in different locations. It was held in Anaheim, California earlier in the beginning of the month. And we had a lot of attendance. 3 of our trustees, including Paul Kumar, Stephen Love, and Deidre McPherson, were among the RTA attendees. Myself, Natoya Walker Minor, Miles Varga were there. Miles is actually part of the leadership program, the Emerging Leaders program at APTA, so another boom to us here within the Power and Way division. So it's really nice to be able to see Cleveland kind of shine when it takes the national stage. And it was a great conference, so you'll hear a little bit about that later. Also wanted to give a heads up about some of the ongoings as far as funding. So in that slide, if you look in the back, the person at the podium there is Mike Shipper, who is our DGM for engineering and project management. We put in a lot of requests for funding at the state level. You'll hear TRACK as an acronym that comes up quite a bit. It really supports a lot of our rail infrastructure that we have going on. We have a reconstruction program for the light rail track portion of the business, and Mike was, of course, leading the charge, requesting funding to be able to get to that initiative to completion. TOD, Transit Oriented Development, or TOC, as you'll hear sometimes, as far as communities, making sure that we are evolving our environment to be able to keep up with the pace of transit is really important as well. So Mike, I'm not sure if you had any questions, or I'm sorry, comments on timing or how your experience went.
Yeah, the track process, actually it's kind of lengthy. We turned in the applications in May. They had field hearings that they've gone through in 3 areas around the state. It is highly competitive, and they will have some more working sessions this year and probably announce their draft recommendations in January of next year. So we are still, they have funded us once in this program, and we are seeking additional funds for this program, and we'll keep working with the ODOT staff, the new director, and the track board to see if we can get some more funding on this.
Thanks, Mike. As was mentioned, ODOT does have a new director. The previous director, Jack Marchbanks, retired and left the position. So we will be meeting with the new ODOT director in the coming weeks. So that'll be a really nice introduction as well to start to jumpstart that relationship as well and make sure that they understand what our needs are here in Cleveland. All right, so if you notice, there's a lot of interaction going on in this presentation today. You will also see the GCRTA bus rodeo. So yes, it is a rodeo. That was the correct word we chose. This will happen on an annual basis. It's been a while since I think we've jump-started this process. If you recall, maybe a month or so ago, we had a rail rodeo. Several of you were there to support that initiative. This was on the bus side, held at West Park Station. Shout out to new board member Anastasia Elder, who actually showed up in person to support the team. We have, I call them the Ed McMahon checks, but those are the congratulatory kind of awards for the best in show. And I'm going to punt really quickly to Doc Caver if you have any comments on how this year's rodeo went.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Terry. The rodeo went terrifically well. This is the first time we've had it in about 15 years or so. And it was an opportunity for our operators to share with each other their skills. Their family members were there. We had a terrific time, and we look forward to doing so again next summer. We'll have our next rodeo with hopes that we'll be able to put a team into the national rodeo. So for those of you who went to the National APTA Conference there's a competition of all transit agencies or transit agencies that enter the contest, and we want to send a team there to show RTA off. So it was a great opportunity and great time for our team.
Thank you, Dr. Caver. Absolutely accurate. We aim to compete here at RTA, so it should be a fun rodeo competition. There's a massive amount of work and effort and passion that goes into it, not only at the local level, but at the international as well, because I believe it ekes into a Canadian territory as well. So it's quite the competition, complete with swag. So we'll keep you updated. All right, paratransit website update. We came to you, again, a few months back. Nick Davidson and team over at Paratransit, along with IT, have been really pushing this through. So we are out of the beta testing and we're in full throttle launch mode. And so this has been up and running for maybe about 3 weeks now, if I'm not mistaken. Getting the nod from the back. So if you want to check out the website here, paratransit.gcrta.org, make sure that you check out that website. The functional accessibility of that is definitely an improvement on what we had before. We had a lot of feedback and indication from our CAC members, our paratransit subcommittee, to be able to put in their input as well before we went live with this this updated, new and improved website for paratransit customers. So we'll continue to take feedback and tweak the website as needed. So we appreciate you for your patience on that one. Just a reminder, you'll see buttons on several of our trustees here. Get out the vote. This is part of that initiative to be able to support the electoral process coming up for November 5th. Of course, it's early voting now. We have a ride, free, and vote. This was a press conference that was on October 8th. Mayor Kumar definitely was there, as you can see in the photo here, alongside Lillian Curry from the Cleveland Foundation. Stephen Love, our trustee, sits on that leadership as well. Myself and Erica Anthony for the vote initiative that is focused here in Cleveland. So we really were excited about that. I believe Deidre McPherson also sits on that board, if I'm not mistaken. So there is a free, I'm doing the air quote because somebody always pays for it, but it's free to you per the Cleveland Foundation from 3 a.m. on November 5th until 3 a.m. on November 6th. So get out to the polls and make your voice heard. Also wanted to give a quick update. We did host in this very room the Cleveland Leadership Institute. This is part of our getting out into the community, also letting the leaders of Cleveland understand what we have here as a treasure at RTA. We gave a state of the economy, so to speak, talk of RTA and what's going on in the finance division, the planning and the scheduling division. So we had Kay Satula, our director from OMB, I believe she's behind me. Yep, there we go. Mary Beth Feek and Joel Freilich were also in tow to be able to give that kind of state of the economics here at RTA. We also had Raj Gotham give the opening address for the finance division. This is really, again, us being able to get into the ears and the minds of about 60 plus leaders in some of their leadership class through Cleveland Leadership Institute. We were very excited to be able to host them here, and we appreciate their attendance. Also, we've been getting out a lot this year and this month. We have what's called a RTA Fall Town Hall. This is definitely a tongue twister. This is an internal meeting that we have for RTA folks here just to be able to kind of understand where we are, what programs we have going on, what we've been doing over the last 6 months. We have it semi-annually, so twice a year. We just hosted it. Again, it's meant for internal. It's not meant for the outside public, but you all know that we have 2,400 employees here at RTA. Sometimes it's a little difficult to get everybody in the same room. I do myself do holiday visits along with a bunch of us going out to the different districts during the fourth quarter of the year. This is really kicking that off for the administrative folks and anybody who can get off shift to be able to come on in. So we hosted this at the AdCom building this year, which is right down the street. Shout out to Craig Martin, who is a co-owner of that property and the AdCom. Again, that was born out of a relationship out of CLC, so you never know how things happen. And it was a beautiful space, had great technology. We had somewhere over 220 people to show up. That's great. We are increasing that. We used to hold it in this room with about 40 to 50 people. So we're increasingly getting more buy-in. We had fireside chats talking about the Baby on Board program, talking about our ambassadors. They gave testimonials. We talked about our survey. You'll see that information come up soon. So we call them fireside chats, and everybody taps into their inner Oprah. That's the way that I explain it. And so that way it becomes an interactive session, and people really get to understand what we're doing. We had several guests in tow, including Cuyahoga County at several levels of leadership to be able to talk about outreach and mental health as well. So great job. It was definitely a good one to see. Also, we had Elevate the East mural. You will notice October 25th is going to come up about 2 or 3 times. We did a lot in one day. We started off in the morning with the mural. If you are familiar with our central bus maintenance facility that's in the Wood Hill area, there is a 728-foot long wall. It's about 12 to 15 feet high in different locations. Elevate the East mural is what it's being called. It started with a singular mural in the middle, right at the crosswalk in front of the AT&T pole. And it's across the street from where there's a lot of demolition going from the CMHA public housing complex that's being torn down and being replaced by mixed income, multifamily use, townhomes and the such. This is really a beautification process to make sure that we are connecting the community, not just by transit, but also by vision and by light. It started off with a singular mural by Sina Alea in connection with Graffiti Heart. If you're familiar with Graffiti Heart, they are a sort of underground sort of art endeavor that's on Superior. That started the initiative. Funding was available. You'll see Blaine Griffith in there next to me in the middle. There was funding that was available. The City of Cleveland worked on it as well. There was a National Endowment of the Arts, which allowed us to be able to complete the wall. It was a collective effort. We were sitting on panels. Mary Beth Feek in particular, I'm not sure if she's in here today, but she did a great job being able to coordinate some of that effort as well. We also had Felicia Brooks Williams from our DEI team, Natoya Walker Minor. It just really was a labor of love, and it is absolutely beautiful. If you have time, there's no way you can miss it. There's 700 feet. 728 feet to be exact, of bright, beautiful mural artwork. So please take a look, and you'll see a lot of people honking their horns and just being excited to be able to bring light to the community. So we're super excited about that. Also, the employee survey that I mentioned before, the results are in. We took a little bit longer than expected with getting this information out because we have a full-on cadre of information on what you told us. You is the internal customer. So this was really our response back from the internal customer to be able to see how they're doing, how supervisors invest in their success, and what we can do to improve. So check it out when you have time. Also, we had an employee awards banquet on October 25th. This was the evening that we celebrated the winners of RTA as far as competitive nature of who's the best of the best for transit police, who's been having amazing stories for operations, who's been having innovative projects for engineering, who's our best community partner. There were a lot of different things. Who's best attendance? It was like a graduation. We had a lot of folks coming across the stage. We had Lauren Welch as our MC for the evening. Mayor Kumar was there, as well as Stephen Love. We appreciate the support, and a lot of you were there in spirit, so we appreciate that as well. It was an amazing event. Over 250 people showed up. Again, we're getting bigger and bigger every year, and that's the point. So we appreciate that, and we'll continue to have this as an annual event for employee morale as well. This is the last slide I believe I have. The same day, October 25th, we have cloned ourselves. We had the 100 plus Latinos You Should Know meet and greet celebration. If you recall, we have a Latinos Unidos ERG, Employee Resource Group. We had a great show out, you'll see in the photo here, of RTA folks that were able to show up and celebrate each other, as well as the progress that we're making for DEI in the Latino space. This was fantastic. It was held at Cleveland Metro Park Zoo, so I just want to be able to say thank you for those folks who were able to sacrifice going to the banquet and went to this so that we could be in multiple places at one time. This is a great opportunity for us to also network beyond RTA in the space of DEI. So great work, and I believe that takes me to the end of the presentation if you have any questions.
Questions? No? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Item 18, President's Report. You stole most of my comments on the celebration, but that's okay. It was a great night, and it was the start of the 50th anniversary of RTA, so it was a great kickoff. We have a couple award winners here, Natoya and Ida, and their respective teams were there receiving deserved awards, so we really appreciated that. And I think, as you said, that Stephen and Lauren and I really liked it, and Lauren has a calling above the RTA board. I think you'll see her on TV somewhere, so. Does a great job on energy and keeping the night moving and recognizing everyone, so thank you for what you do. And then one note for tomorrow, we do have the crisis communication training at 9 a.m., and I think it'll be in this room. Okay, great. That concludes my report. Any new business? Or any old business? Pardon, jump down there. Yeah, that's under new business. Yeah, okay. Under new business, we have two items. The proposed 2025 board and committee meeting schedule that I think we will finalize. Just wanted you to see that in advance. I know that's been distributed, correct? Previous. Do we have to vote on that? Or we can?
You can choose to approve it now, or you can wait till the next meeting. It's your pleasure.
If there aren't any issues, I would just make a motion that we go ahead and adopt and approve this schedule for 2025.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That schedule has been finalized and placed on your calendars, so that's great. Item B under new business, and I'm going to, the APTA Transform Conference, just as we go forward in these conferences, I think it's important to have some report outs to share that with all the board members. I think we all do that informally amongst ourselves, but sometimes not everyone's present, so I think this is a good practice to get into. So I think I'm going to turn it over to Stephen and Deirdre just to talk. I'll add some comments as well, but I'm going to let the two of you start and highlight the different sections you were in and what you gleaned from the conference.
Thank you, President Kumar. Good morning, everyone. We're all well. I'll keep my comments brief, but I will just say, first off, thank you to the GCRTA for the opportunity to attend APTA Transform. I had attended my first APTA conference here in Cleveland over the summer. You all hosted the light rail or the APTA Rail conference, and that was a really great foray in. But certainly to be at Transform was a lot to take in. It's a very large conference, and certainly a lot of different tracks and sessions to choose from, and also just a real opportunity, I think, to kind of better understand what peer agencies are doing and leading and both struggling with and moving forward across the field. I would say I took the opportunity to try to dive in a little bit around what I think is an emerging and constant discussion around fleet conversion and zero-emission fleets, and also thinking about holistically, how do you think about the system from an innovation perspective, both to drive more mode shift, to drive transit-oriented development, and to drive fleet conversion? How do you also think about all of those things holistically from the vantage point of sort of moving the public transit innovation forward? I think what I heard relative to fleet, electrification, fleet zero-emission conversion with hydrogen, continuation of CNG, is that the reality is there is still, I think, a lot of learning going on. There are a lot of active agencies that have made strides towards conversion of fleet, but there are still certainly more, I think, opportunities to really think holistically about what does a solution look like that might bring in electrification, hydrogen, and other solutions over time, and then ultimately how does the FTA funding and federal policy really dictate or drive those decisions, and how do we also build more domestic supply chain to ensure that is also meeting that Buy America, Build America domestic requirement. The other thing I would just add is there were some really innovative models around transit-oriented development, particularly with the Kansas City Transit. I think there's a lot of opportunities to learn from some of our peers and build on that for a more holistic approach to TOD. But with that, I'll turn over to Trustee McPherson to talk about her experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Yep.
I just want to echo Stephen in saying what a pleasure and privilege it was to travel to Anaheim for this conference. It was very eye-opening for me. My regular employment is not in the transit field, and so I learned a lot. I learned also that India is a rock star in the transit world. I was so proud of our team, our staff, and GCRTA as an organization, the reputation that we have out in the field. And it was the networking was incredible. It was so great to meet leaders from other parts of the country and other markets that are doing really innovative things. I was really inspired by some of the programming and leadership happening in other markets, initiatives like under 18s ride free and free transit for community college students in some markets. I was also blown away by some of the initiatives happening in London. There was I'm trying to remember the name of the gentleman who spoke, who's overseeing London Underground. My background's in arts and culture, so how they've infused arts and culture into the experience to really elevate the experience of transit riders in London, I thought was very interesting. Transit-oriented development is also a topic that I'm really interested in, and learning about some of the car light communities in Tempe, Arizona, and in villages in Florida were really interesting and forward-thinking in a way that I think would be really transformative for Cleveland to consider in the future and experiment with. And then there was a keynote, Mira Sorvino, who many people know from Hollywood films. She spoke very passionately about fighting human trafficking and how this worldwide industry and that's creating forms of enslavement. And so just learning more about that and the role that the transit can play in putting an end to that and addressing that was very empowering. But yeah, it was a phenomenal experience. Really grateful to have an opportunity to go and made some great friends there. So thank you.
And I would just echo both of those comments, especially looking at the future of electric and hydrogen vehicles and options that RTA may have in the future to run a cleaner fleet. We're already doing a great job with compressed natural gas, but there are always more options. The other thing I will say to the GCRTA management team in general is I was walking between sessions, maybe back to the hotel, and had the opportunity to chat with someone from the Calgary transit system who had not been at the rail conference in Cleveland, but said several of her peers had come here and said that they were blown away with not only Cleveland, but the caliber of conference and all the breakout sessions that all of you helped facilitate. And she could not stop talking about it. And it was not a question I asked. It's something she volunteered and said the quality of the conference was one of the best they had been to. So just to thank you to all of you for what you do. Anything else you want to follow up on?
Just want to say conference was great. It was Andy Lord, because I knew that was going to bother me. As soon as you said it, I was like, oh, I got to look it up. He was the commissioner for the London Underground. So that was amazing. I would definitely say it was just really jam-packed. I would suggest that the board members rotate through if they can, when they can, to be able to go to these kind of conferences. They all are different sizes. So I know Stephen said it was a huge one. It was. It'll be even bigger at an expo year where they have all of the international competitions. So they get progressively larger in size. I want to say if I had to ballpark it, maybe they had 3,000 folks there, 3 or 4. We hosted 1,600 at our rail conference here over the summer. And I want to say it caps out probably around 5,000 or 6,000, maybe even close to 7 in some locations. So it was a great opportunity. And again, I appreciate the staff here the team back here in Cleveland. Also, we will continue to rotate staff members through it. to be able to experience it is it's hard to explain, because you really go back into the transit family and you find out that we are not the only ones going through what we're going through. And you'll see that throughout. So whether it's finance or innovation or vehicles or workforce development, everyone has the same experience. So we're working through it together.
Thank you so much. And I will be talking with India. I know Teresa had sent out the conferences for next year, and we try and find a rhythm and rotate. We've got a travel schedule that we've got to adhere to, so we sort of alternate between these. So I'll be in contact with all of you as we go forward to talk about what that looks like for 2025. Item 21, we have an executive session requested. I'd like to make a motion to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, and compensation of public employee or official.
Second.
Okay. Teresa, roll call, please.
Mayor Biassiata.
Yes.
Ms. Elder.
Yes.
Mayor Kumar.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Yes.
Reverend Lucas. Ms. McPherson.
Yes.
Ms. Pachetti.
Yes.
Mr. Sleesman.
Yes.
Mayor Weiss. And Ms. Welch.
Yes.
You have 8 ayes and none opposed.
Great. The board is going to now go into executive session. We'll go in the back room.
Yes, we should be able to, and I've got a list of folks if you're ready. Okay. So we'll have executive session on a few items. We'll go back into the caucus room. All board members, as well as a couple folks or a few folks from staff. We'll have John Sulik, Cecilia DeGraffenfeed, Commander Hudson from TP, Janet Burney from Legal, Raj Gotham from Finance, and Flante Caver from Operations. Do you have anyone else?
Second
Janet.
item, the second item to be covered.
Oh, yeah.
There are two justifications.
Oh, right, to enable the board conference.
You read both?
Yeah.
Okay. The second one? He read it? No, he didn't. I didn't think so. Okay.
Yeah, I will. Just when it wasn't.
It does get cold.
I lost my roll call
Yeah.
this.
I got a quick question for you. I got to roll. You all here? Yeah. Teresa, we ready?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we come out and adjourn executive session. Is there a second?
Second, McPherson?
Roll call, please.
All right. Mayor Biassiata. Ms. Elder.
Yes.
Mayor Kumar.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Yes.
Ms. McPherson.
Yes.
Ms. Pachetti.
Yes.
Mr. Sleesman.
Yes.
And Ms. Welch.
Yes.
All right, you have 7 ayes and none opposed.
Great. I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn the regular board meeting of the RTA trustees.
Motion Welch.
All in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.